Hi there, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me here on my channel, where I have been interviewing and having little chit chats with creatives and with people who are really digging deep to connect with what feels real and authentic for them. And all of that said, I'm absolutely thrilled to have George Kao joining us today. And just to kind of give you a little bit of background, George is a business consultant. He's an author. I love the way he presents and speaks because it's true to his focus, which is all about joyful productivity and conscious marketing. And I know that many of us have problems with marketing. So all of that said, I'm going to hand it over to George and have him, say a few words about what that looks like and, how we can be more authentic.
Thank you, Julie. I really appreciate being invited to this conversation. And I have been working with so many authors, creators, small business owners, gosh, since 2009. So what is it, 13, almost 14 years. And, essentially, I started out learning marketing the way that most of us do, from people who are, I would say kind of maybe a little loud, a little pushy, a little bit manipulative, perhaps we might even say. I mean, I don't feel like they're bad people, but it's just that it's assumed when you start learning marketing, well, you just have to do these things that don't feel quite right, because then you can have the book sales, or you can have, you can sell your art, or that you can get clients, or whatever it may be. And it's seen as a means to an end. Oh, you just have to do the chore or the kind of icky parts of marketing so that you can really do your meaningful work, your soul's work. You can be a true human being to your clients and your customers and your fans, etc. And the first couple of years when I was trying that, I did find some success, because there's a reason why they keep teaching that stuff. And when I say that stuff, I mean all the stuff that you experience in marketing that feels off to you, or maybe you've tried it yourself and it's like they keep teaching it because it does work, quote unquote, in the short term. It does get people's attention, and then it does get people to sign up. So it's like, George, what's wrong with that? It gets people to sign up, it gets people to buy our stuff. But those of us who are watching this, who feel as Julie and I, that we do here, that we avoid it. we avoid it when people do it to us, and we avoid doing it to other people. And so therefore, do we just have to be poor and have no one buy our stuff? No, there's a better way. And so I've spent years experimenting and kind of thinking through to find a better way of doing marketing that actually, can you imagine, opens the heart, in both, for both parties, for both the creator, the one doing the quote unquote marketing, and the one on the side receiving it, the prospective audience member, client, customer, reader, viewer. And essentially, I guess I'll share what I think the core is, and then any questions you have, Julie, happy to discuss. But to me, the core of it is that I now see marketing as the process for a creator, a business, to find its calling. It's such a strange sounding thing, but our calling is that blessed intersection between our passion, our values, what makes us come alive on the one hand, and what makes the world come alive on the other hand at this time. Because it's always about at this time. It's always contextual to what society needs and wants at this time, of course, to stay relevant. But that intersection of what makes us come alive and what makes the world come alive, that intersection is our calling.
Yes.
The purpose of our work, the deeper purpose, the higher purpose. the potential of our work. And
Yes.
I think marketing is the process of discovering what the intersection is. Marketing is not the process of using psychology of persuasion to make people do stuff, to make people buy stuff, sign up for this, read this, get their attention. That's an outdated, in my opinion, an outdated view of marketing that none of us ever really liked. Nobody ever actually wanted to do. We just thought we had to do it to manipulate people, essentially, more cleverly, in a more subtle way. No, I think marketing in a way that's truly going to fulfill our purpose and to ignite our joy is that process of figuring out that sweet spot through exploration, what I call public journaling, exploring your passions and your values and your style publicly, and having that naturally attract those who, well, are naturally attracted to that. They resonate with that because maybe, I don't know, you could say that they're part of the same soul group, or that they somehow resonate with your energy signature. Therefore, you don't have to pretend to be anything other than who you authentically are. So anyway, just a few thoughts about how I think about marketing is different. Yeah.
I absolutely love that, that sort of intersection, which you call the sweet spot. To me, it feels really magical. And it's that, I think, the energy of that meeting place that naturally attracts people to you, who are, maybe struggling with some of the things that you're speaking about. Yeah. And then it's more of an organic flow, as opposed to feeling like you've been arm wrestled into doing something. We've all done that, right? I memean, I've signed up for some marketing things when I was starting to learn about it. And it sounded good on paper, so to speak. But, when I actually joined, I just thought, I just can't. It felt aggressive. It felt
exactly.
acting.
Yes.
It wasn't me. I knew that if I signed up for whatever, 6-month or yearly program, whatever it was, I just probably wouldn't be able to keep up with it. And then it feels inauthentic because you're signing up for something you're not going to follow through on.
That's right. Yes. Yes, exactly. I mean, I have spent tens of thousands, in my 15 plus years of learning marketing on those kinds of programs that sounded really good to me. When we look at those things, oh my God, they promise us the stars and the moon, and this will be the only thing you'll ever need. And then what's interesting is a lot of times when we sign up for those things, the customer service afterwards is a lot less eager and helpful compared to the sales process. It's like, anyway, but I want to say this. I mean, the way I've made marketing sound, maybe to some people might sound too idealistic, or that sounds fine, George, but I still need to get sales of my books or clients or whatever it may be. And I want to say that the more I have practiced this thing that I'm telling you, the more the easier I have found to get clients, sales of my books, new fans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, Julie, you met me several years into this experiment and this experience. And so, and you've seen me the last couple of years continue to do this. And my audience has only continued to grow. The sales of my products and services have continued to grow. This stuff works, and not just me. I mean, I'm looking at my clients who've done this. I'm looking at colleagues who've done this. This stuff works. The problem, why isn't it being widely taught or widely done, is because it's tied to our personal development. It's tied to our personal growth. And a lot of people who do marketing, they don't see it as a personal growth process. They see it as almost like a technical, you have to push these buttons, you have to say these words, these magical words will, get another human being to do this or that. It's like they're looking at it in a very scientific way, which is, there's nothing wrong with science. I love science. I think the scientific method is very important. I think hypothesis, experimentation, observation, hypothesis again. That process is important, but that's only one side. It's kind of like, what if you lived life only with the left brain and you had no right brain?
Yes.
Right? It's like,
Yeah.
And therefore
Yeah.
you will get certain things done, and you will, but it probably won't be as beautiful, you might say, beautiful to yourself and to others. It won't be as beautiful, as fulfilling, and as loving, you might say, and of course, if you only lived your life with the right brain, things might be real beautiful for a little while, and then you can't pay the bills, or you can't get things done because you don't, it's like if you don't integrate these two, right, then we're always
Yes.
off balance. And so I think
Yeah.
true authentic marketing, which I think is a beautiful balancing the two. Authentic is, maybe you could say, the right brain, or the more spiritual or artistic or the values driven parts of it, and aligned with, integrated with the more technical, scientific, data driven part of it. And the two of them together, I think, make the best way of selling your books, of getting an audience, of growing your business, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Because while you're speaking about the old way of marketing, what keeps coming to mind is how it's kind of goal oriented. It's like, I need to get there, and there's this, it's very, very, very aggressive.
Yes.
Which is really off. And the one thing I can say, which is that, I think I found you on Instagram maybe 2 years ago, and it was via an author. And the thing that has been consistently in place is that you haven't changed the way you present in terms of, a heartfelt, heartfelt marketing approach. It's not like you become bigger and better and brighter.
I hope I never become too big. I mean, honestly, thank you so much for saying that. I look at some of my friends who grow an audience quickly through various, I mean, some of the methods are fine, are legitimate, but it's so stressful. I've noticed. I mean, I have friends who have just kind of gone like this, where they're like, grew very fast and they crashed and burned, and they lost a lot of their connections because they burned them out, or they feel like they lost their own integrity for a while. And I've had that experience in the past too. And what I've done is I have found a way to grow at a pace that I can keep up with. So it's been growing, last 2 years certainly has continued to see the growth, but I've been able to keep up with it. And it's like, and I really do believe that when we grow authentically, somehow the universe or ourselves, our higher selves, allows us to grow in a way that we can keep up with. And when we overstretch or use methods that are not authentic to us, we might see growth, but it's sort of like stretching the rubber band so much that it breaks, or either it breaks and causes damage to our system and our relationships, or it snaps back with such violence, right, that we also get hurt, and we kind of play small again because we don't want to have that big launch experience that exhausted us, or that burned us out, or something like that. And so I feel like the growth through authentic marketing is where we're stretching the rubber band just a little bit every month. It's a little bit every day, a little bit every quarter. And by doing so, the rubber band is our capacity to hold more of an audience, and to and also the growth of our skills, and therefore the growth of our skills in terms of both communication, but also technical skills of holding an audience well. So
Yes. And I mean, the point I was really trying to make, I mean, obviously I know there's been growth with you, but the thing that is fundamental all the way through from 2 years ago when I first found you and now is your heart. You haven't changed that heart-centered approach to the way you speak and share and, you know, put posts up on Instagram, even if it's like a little slideshow.
Yes. Yes.
You can feel it. And I
Oh.
think that is so valued and so needed right now,
Mm.
because we're so used to being bombarded all the time.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're kind of
Yes.
looking for some ease, you know,
Yeah.
and something that is inviting without feeling like it's suffocating or trying to hook us in, you know, this big,
Mm. Right.
big promise. This
Yes.
promise will never, you know, be fulfilled.
Yeah. No, thank you for saying that. I do feel that um that basically content that resonates is content that has a lot of heart. And the more we can infuse whatever our natural deep heart of expression, of service, perhaps of care, right? Care for the process of creation, but care for the audience as well. Like the more we practice the courage of doing that, I think the more the audience will sense that over time. It's not some kind of magic where it's like, oh, I put so much heart into it, therefore this thing should go viral, and if it doesn't, it's just some kind of failure, that process didn't work. No. It's the practice of the courage, right? And that word comes from something to do with the heart, of showing up again and again with that kind of heart is what builds the audience that notices you at first. Maybe even the first few times they might scroll past it, but
Mhm.
they keep coming back, and they will sense into that energy signature of the heart. And well, Julie, 2 years later, here we are talking, right? I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes it takes a while. I mean, so here's the thing, the longer I've been in business, Julie, the more I hear people tell me, George, I started following you 5 years ago. And finally, I'm ready to, do something with you. I get one of your courses, or become a client, whatever. But it's like the longer I'm in business, the more I hear that. And of course, because the longer you give your business that chance to serve from the heart and to create from the heart, the more people start to come back. They notice you 1 year or 1 month, they come back the next month or the next year, and you're still there. And they're like, there's something special here. Because guess what? So many creators, so many authors and artists and business owners, unfortunately, they do the crash and burn thing where they follow some exhausting method or some inauthentic method, and they can't make it, so they think that they failed. No, they simply were following a path that wasn't authentic to them, that maybe stretched the rubber band too much, and it snapped back, and with the violence. But if you can stay with this heartfelt creation process month after month, year after year, how? Well, because you know that it's a practice, and you know that this is how you stretch your rubber band a little bit every day, a little bit every month, growing your skills and growing your capacity to be able to hold, the vulnerability that happens when you share your heart online. That takes stamina to be able to do that again and again. And so it's a practice, it's a process. This is why most people can't and don't do it. And that's why the few of us who do stick with it are the ones who reap the rewards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because look, I'm sure it's the same for you. Whenever I, have any of these interviews online, or I'm creating content online, I don't come away from it feeling exhausted and depleted.
Right.
It's just the opposite. I come away feeling so inspired and so filled and
Yes.
expansive, and all of those great things, which is what
Yes.
everybody's looking for at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
That connection, that
Mm.
heart connection or soul connection,
Yeah.
whatever you want. And I think that is a real indicator of whether or not you're really aligned with your highest calling and speaking from that place of truth, or whether you're
Yes.
following the herd and just trying to sort of drive something,
Yeah.
market without any real sort of authenticity.
Yeah. No, I so appreciate you doing these interviews, because and I went and watched a few of the interviews before we talked, before I said yes. to doing this. And I thought, wow, she's good. You know, interviewing is such a wonderful way to share from the heart. You get a colleague together, you know. And I typically invite people, say, you know, if you're going to do interviews, like look for others with probably a similar sized audience in some way. And sometimes you're able to get a bigger author or a bigger colleague to say yes. And sometimes you are talking to somebody who has a much less audience and you're kind of lifting them up. And that sometimes happens too. But interviewing is such a wonderful way to collaborate, share from the heart, and to sometimes people are you know, still trying to find their own voice. And it's like doing interviews and collaborating like this can help each other practice, you know, sharing the message, sharing the voice. So I really appreciate that you're doing this.
Yes, thank you. Well, I think that is just, it's also a wonderful way to give. You know, we're not looking for anything. You're just giving and you're just sharing from that place.
Yeah.
It's great. And hopefully the viewers will get something from it and feel heartened by it and given strength, you know, from our conversation.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a great service to humanity at this time.
Yes. And really at the end of the day, it's like none of us know how long each of us has. You know, it really, it's that old saying, I think it's from the Stoics, memento mori, you know, it's like, remember your mortality. What is therefore the deeper purpose of life and the deeper possibility of life is, well, I feel each of us must answer that for themselves. I feel that I'm here every day to express my heart and soul more truly, if I can, and to sense into the guidance of my higher self and to follow that guidance, even if sometimes it's a little uncomfortable at the beginning, but then it always blossoms, it always flowers into gratitude and growth. And so it's like, if we can bring more of that depth and authenticity, again, into our day-to-day action, then we're living the life. We're living the life that we are meant to live. We don't have to wait until retirement, or we don't have to wait for the weekend or wait for our breaks. No, the life we're meant to live can be in this moment of whatever you're doing today for your business, for your creativity. Live that life now. Don't wait.
Fantastic. Well, that is a great way, I think, to end this conversation for now. I would love to invite you back at you know, a future date.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Appreciate that very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you, Julie, for doing this.
Sure. And I'd just like to invite you to just let folks know where they can find you.
Oh,
I know you're on YouTube.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, you know, you could just Google my name, gratefully. George Kao, Kao is how you spell my last name. George Kao. Just Google it. Also try Googling this tool that I've shared as a blog post and video called Energy Reboot. This is a practice that I always leave people with. It's something that I do multiple times a day that really helps my creativity. So you might Google Energy Reboot and you'll find my video and blog post about it. And that might be something to try out and for yourself as well.
Fantastic. I'll try that. I'll try that this afternoon.
Yeah, good.
Thank you so much. Well,
thank you, Julie.
Once again, George. This has been absolutely amazing. I knew it would be. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. As always, I really appreciate it. Be well, take it easy, and I'll see you again soon.
Thanks,
bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much.